All right, so let's begin. My name is Rajvir. Once again, I'm streaming from South Germany. I'm the founder of Code and Compile, and it's a company where I host most of my courses and I provide services to many companies. I'm going to give you slight information about me and my work, and then we can start into the workshop topic. All right, so beginning with, my name is Rajvir. I was born in India in Delhi, 1988. And since about 10 years, I'm in Germany. I did my master's in mechatronics here. And I worked as an international trainer. So I was going to different countries and giving trainings on mechatronics and IoT for 5 years. So this is one of the photo you see here. It's somewhere in Norway. There's a school, and I'm teaching the teachers. So I was mostly teaching the teachers because it's very important. If you teach the teachers, they can teach the students. So you don't have to teach students every year to the school. Just teach the teachers, and they are going to give you the training. This was my task. And then I was working as an influencer for ControlX Automation. This is from Bosch Rexroth. And ControlX is a device which they use as an edge computer, right? You can Google that if you want to learn more about that. And since 2019, I'm a founder of Code and Compile, and we have about 100,000 students and 180,000 subscribers who are following us in all our social media platform altogether. And I'm also content creator and community manager of Simomatic. And what is Simomatic? It's very interesting. I'm going to show you during the webinar. I've prepared something for you. And Simomatic is going to play a huge role as a digital twin platform in this webinar. All right, this was a bit about me. And let's jump into what is Code and Compile. My mission is to make learning easy and fun. Right? I always like to make fun when I'm having some learning or something easy where you don't have to just sit on the computer. You have to think, you have to act, and you have to move your hands and screw something to do some projects. That's what I do. And if you go to Code and Compile, you will see many videos and many courses related to automation, PLCs, HMI, SCADA, OPC-UA, MySQL, tons of it. So this is something bit about that. And in Code and Compile, I'm offering industry-level courses, basically about PLC programming, so how to program a PLC. I'm not sure what's your background, if you're electronics students, industrial engineering students, but PLC is one of the devices widely used in the industry for programming some steps or some sequence or process. And this is what you learn in my courses. I also teach factory automation, in which you learn about sensors, actuators, and how to connect that with PLC and make whole system running. So also about the wiring of the sensors and actuators. Then I teach about data visualization. So today's topic is Node-RED, which is one of the tools for data visualization. So how to visualize the data on the dashboard or on the HMI. This I also teach. And many tools of IIoT you will find in my courses like Node-RED, OPC-UA, some communication protocol, MySQL, MQTT. This is what I teach. And lastly, digital twin and virtual commissioning. So I will show you one example of digital twin shortly, how we're going to use that. And I would say if you have your laptop with you, please follow this workshop in your laptop. So the only thing you need to do is install Node-RED, and how to do that I will tell you in the workshop itself. Okay. Some of the companies that I'm working with is, you can see that here. I've worked with Siemens, Simomatic, and Bradley, Omron, Ignition, Turk, Flowfuse. These are majorly companies located in Germany, and I work with them on their devices. I explore their controllers or some software services, and I make some videos on YouTube to show what is possible in today's world with these tech world. All right, now this was a bit about me and how I teach. So I'm a teacher. I love to teach. And this is the passion I have since 10 years. So in my teaching methodology, what I follow self-learning online courses. So I offer students to learn in their own time. So you have your time, just log in and start learning. So there's no pressure of classes to join at a certain time. So I really love this strategy of self-learning, because you should learn when you are in a perfect state of mind. Then you should start learning, and then you learn really good. Then along with learning, I offer access to digital twin system, which means you can access some machines on your computer. You don't need to work on the real machine if you don't have it. It's very expensive otherwise. So you can build your robotic system, your conveyor system in your computer. That's digital twin, and you can interact with them with your controllers. So today we'll see one example. I have an exclusive Wikipedia, which is called wiki.codeandcompile.com, where you can access all the literature that I use in the course. And that's a free wiki you can access anytime. I offer tech support for people who are stuck somewhere. I tell them how to get out of there and continue their learning. There are some giveaways, which I also offer. I offer some free books, free edge devices. In the next months, you will see some advertisement if you are following me on LinkedIn. And then we have a student community. And these all things are explained in one of the video, which you can find also on my website. All right, this was enough about me. And now we are going to jump to the workshop topic, which is very important today. What is Node-RED? Okay. So how many of you, if you can type in the chat, knows already about Node-RED? You can just type yes, no, if you know already about Node-RED. If you can just put a message in the chat. I want you to move a little bit. I just don't want me to speak all the time. I want some interaction. So just type in the chat if you know about Node-RED already, or if you have used it somewhere, or have you heard about that? Are you curious about learning it? So I see no, no. Some people say yes. Malik says yes. And OK, that's great. If you don't know about this, this is going to be an exciting tool for you. And I'm going to tell you a story. You can keep typing. I can tell you a story. I think about 5 years ago or 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, I was working on a mechatronics station. There were some PLCs. And one of my manager asked me, hey, we are looking for a dashboard tool. If you can create a dashboard. I said, OK, there are so many on the internet. I searched. I found one tool, Ignition. And they said, no, it's expensive. It's expensive. They don't want to pay money. They want some open source tool. And open source tool, I didn't know about open source tool that time. I was keep searching, and Node-RED was not so famous that time, 6 years ago. And then I found Node-RED. And I was like, oh, wow, this is such a great tool because it's completely free. And you can extract the data from a machine, which we will do today, and make some dashboards, completely free. And this, I started working on that, and I made some nice dashboards for my boss. And now we are setting this trainers across the world. So this is what we're going to learn today, how to use Node-RED. And I'm going to show you a sample of data, which I have on my PLC. So I have some PLCs on my table, which are running. So I'm going to show you how to interact with these real hardware using Node-RED. So in a nutshell, what is a Node-RED? Node-RED is an open source flow-based programming tool. Open source. Open source means it's completely free. Flow-based programming. Now, many of the programming tools, you have to type text. Like when I was learning programming, I started with C++ or, I don't know, Fortran, and you have to type a lot of text. And then you have to remember the syntax. If you have problem in the syntax, then your code is not going to compile. So this Node-RED is a little bit more easy to program with because you have flows. So you have nodes. And with nodes, you make flows, right? So it's much easy drag and drop way to program it. So you also call it no-code programming tool. So this is what Node-RED is. But besides that, it's developed by IBM, and now it's a part of JS Foundation. So it's basically created by IBM guys, and now it's under the JS Foundation, which is JavaScript Foundation. And the Node-RED tool background programming language is JavaScript. So what you're learning today is a part of JavaScript, which is very important these days. Sorry about that. And then it uses a visual flow editor, like I said, drag and drop interface. It's for event-driven applications. So if you have some events in your factory, you can capture those events, and then you can make some applications based on that. It uses JSON-based. Now, JSON, maybe you don't know, it's JavaScript object notation. So when you create a message, it's in the format of JSON. I will tell you shortly when I start working on Node-RED to spread the message between nodes. And like I said, it supports JavaScript for custom function nodes. So if you don't know JavaScript, don't worry. It's a very easy programming language. I can teach you a bit about JavaScript today. So in the end of the workshop, you will be much more educated with Node-RED, because I make sure. And it has built-in support for MQTT, HTTP. These are some protocols, WebSocket, and APIs. We'll come to that shortly. What is this? All right, so I see a lot of noses and yes. OK, great. Let's proceed to the next step, where you can use Node-RED. Number one, you can use it in industrial automation to connect sensors, PLCs, SCADAs, and IoT systems. So Node-RED could be a tool to bridge two devices together. So imagine you have a machine in your shop floor, and you want to get the data out of this machine and send it to another machine. Node-RED can do that. It can bridge these two machines together, right? This is also, we can call it edge computing. So if you have some edge devices on your shop floor, you can install Node-RED on that. And then edge devices can get the data from the factory and can analyze the data, and then can spread it further. We will do one exercise today based on that. This is typical application where we use Node-RED. Then you use it for data processing. So you can collect the data, you can process the data, because when you have a machine, you have PLCs inside. These are not sufficient for data processing. If you want to process an image, you can't do that in the machine, but you can do it outside the machine. So you extract the data and then you process the data. This is what you can do. And then you can also visualize the data in the real time. You can integrate APIs. For example, you want to get the weather. We will do this exercise today. Or some information about the city. So let's say I want to show what's the weather today on my machine. I can integrate the weather API with my edge device, and I can show it in my machine. This is just an example. You can also show weather in your car, in your trains, but this is the interface Node-RED can do. Someone is saying we can't see the screen. I'm not sure if this is my problem or your problem, but I believe others can see it. Or let me know, Omar or Abdullah, if everything is okay.
Yes, everything is okay.
All right, so maybe someone has to fix their problem. All right, another example is home automation. Now, if you know, in my home, I have several lamps which are controlled by MQTT. It's a protocol, and I'm doing that with Node-RED. So you can control the lamps in your house, or you can control, I don't know, maybe your TV as well, or some microwave or fridge or lights. You can do everything using Node-RED. It's a completely free tool. Last but not the least, you can do some smart projects. You can use it in smart city or energy management. So a lot of applications Node-RED can handle, or Node-RED can provide. So the next step is, let's get onboarded with you guys with Node-RED. We have to first install it. Okay, so how to install it? Step number one, there's a requirement. Your computer should has Node.js platform. Okay, so this Node.js you can download from here. So I would like you to go to this website, nodejs.org/en, is just in English, but just open nodejs.org. I can also open it here for you. So if you open this website, you need to download this software. You can download this one. Download node.js LTS. So just download this one and install it, because Node-RED needs to have Node.js installed in your computer. Okay, so take your time, install this software, and the next step would be we will install Node-RED. So I hope you have installed the software, and the next step after that is installing the Node-RED. So to install Node-RED, there are different ways to do it. So first, let me tell you that Node-RED is not just Windows-based. You can install it on Windows. You can install it on Linux. You can install it on your Raspberry Pi, or you can also install it on an edge device here. Okay, and you can also use Dockers for it. Now, I have said a lot of words which you might not be knowing or aware of. So let's start one by one. If you want to start it in your Windows, what you can do is you can go to this command prompt, like I take it out here, and I will just type this code. It's npm install -g unsafe from Node-RED. Just type this in your command prompt, but make sure you have done the full step to installation of Node.js. And this will take some time based on your computer speed or internet speed, and it will install Node-RED in your computer. I already have installed it, so I just did it for you to see what is the process of installation. So today I have opened a lot of applications, so it might take some time to process it, but we will see step by step. So you can just type the same command in your command prompt, and it should start doing something. I don't know why it takes so much time for me, but let's see if it works. Yeah, but I can wait for it. It's no stress. Now you can see something is happening. And if you have a Linux, then you have to do sudo npm install, and rest is the same. You have to put sudo is just for the permission. So based on which operating system you're using, you can take any of these two commands. And then just wait, and it will give you a confirmation when it has been installed. I know this installation is not like a new text software in which you just open setup.exe. You have to do it in the command prompt. Now you can see that it has added some packages, and now I'm ready to go. So once this step is done, what you can do is you can just type Node-RED, press enter, and it should start your Node-RED. Okay, so it says that I need to have Node.js v18. Like I said, I just installed a newer version, which needs a newer version of Node.js. So what I can do is I can go there and download the latest version. So let's do that now together. So now I will install Node.js. So basically, you can see how this works. Today my computer is a bit slow, but I hope you have some patience with me. Okay, let's try installation. So this is usually the first step, installation of Node.js. So now when I was talking about the applications, that you can use it to bridge the data between the machine, you can do data visualization, so you need not to just work on the computer. If you have computer right now, you're working on the laptop, you can install Node-RED. But in the industry, you need an edge device where you install Node-RED. So today I have several edge devices with me. One of the basic edge device, which is homemade, is this one. This is a Raspberry Pi. So if you have Raspberry Pi, you can also install Node-RED on that. So I will show you. I've already installed Node-RED on my Raspberry Pi. I will show you how I can run that. And I also have Node-RED running on my edge computer, which is on my table. In the meanwhile, I can show you some examples. So if you see this video, I made a short video. This is my edge computer. This is from Seed Studio. It's called reComputer. This is also having Node-RED running inside, right? And this Node-RED is communicating with my PLC. This is my Schneider PLC. So we're going to see how this is taking the data out of the PLC. And I'm going to show you a small dashboard. And another example I'm going to show you, which will be a kind of like a project. This is another trainer of mine. This is my Siemens PLC, SM1500. And I'm going to extract data from this PLC in my computer and show you some data. And then, if you are installing Node-RED, I'm going to send the data to you, right? So all the data which is coming from a PLC, you can access that. And then you can make the same dashboard, what I'm doing. So how I'm sending the data from Germany to Malaysia, I will show you shortly. You can access this data super easily and make your own dashboard. That's like the exercise of today. And if you could do that, you can say that today's workshop was successful. All right, so let's see how's the process. Okay, this is done. And let's try now Node-RED again, if it works. Technically should work. Let's have a look. There you go. Now you can see that it is starting the Node-RED version, Node.js version is this one, and loading something here. So let me know if you could do that in your computer, if you could see something happening. So don't worry about so much messages because I have installed some TensorFlow. Maybe you don't see that. But in the end, you will see started flows. Okay, this message is important. And once your flows are started, you might have seen something like this. Server now running at this. Okay, now we can access the Node-RED. So right now, I installed the Node-RED on my window. Okay, wait a second. So I have used this command. I'm running the window, so I will go to my now browser. So once it's installed, you can just type localhost 1880, press enter. And then you will see Node-RED is up and running. Okay, super easy. So like I said, it's a browser-based software. It's a flow-based software. You can see a lot of flows here. And this is just a sample programming that I did today to show you how you can work on that. I can just maybe disable it. And this is the empty flow. So you will see an empty flow, and some of the nodes on the left side, maybe a little bit lesser than I have, because I have installed some extra nodes. And on the right side, you will see a deploy button. So you do not need to know more about that at the moment. I will tell you how we can use Node-RED. So this is how installation looks like in Windows. Okay. The second part was, how can you do that in Linux? So I have already installed Node-RED on my Raspberry Pi just by typing this command sudo in the terminal window. And now it's running. So this Raspberry Pi, if you see on my table, this is having Node-RED running on it. Okay. And I know the IP address of my Raspberry Pi. If I know the IP address, I can access what is going on in my Raspberry Pi. You don't have to worry about how to do that unless you have this. So I will put here the IP address of Raspberry Pi is this. And the port address is always, the default is 1880. So when I press that, now we can see another Node-RED instance. But this is now coming from my Raspberry Pi, not from my computer. This one is in my computer. This is on my Raspberry Pi. Okay, this was the second way to access Node-RED or start Node-RED or install Node-RED somewhere. Here something is happening. What is happening here, just to show you, if I open the dashboard of Raspberry Pi, it is showing me the current temperature, which is 28.6, humidity, and luminance, how bright it is, right? And then here you have some parameters where I can give some target value. So right now target is 0 by default. I can say temperature, I want target of 30. And now you can see that target is 30. Target has not reached, that's why it's red. And similarly, you have humidity, where you can enter some value, and luminance, and air pressure. So there are some parameters which it is calculating from my Node-RED, from my Raspberry Pi, because Raspberry Pi has some sensors. If you see here, I hope you can see that. This is a small gadget. This one has some sensors on it. It's called Sensor Hub. This is reading these parameters from my room and giving it to my Raspberry Pi. And in Raspberry Pi, I have some nodes. So you need not to know what is happening here, but some nodes are extracting the data from the sensor kit. And then I have dashboard nodes here to show it visually like this. It's not so complicated. We are going to do this exercise together if you're with me. In the meanwhile, if you have installed Node-RED, let me know. Just type it in the chat. If you haven't, keep trying in the background to install Node-RED if you want to do some exercise in the end. Okay? So this was the second way, installing on the Raspberry Pi. And then let's coming back to the presentation. So this was how it was working. So Raspberry Pi was connected to Sensor Hub, and the communication is by I2C. And then I have an IP address, I can access the Node-RED. So Node-RED was already installed in this one. Another way is you can install Node-RED in the edge device. So I have an edge computer, which I have shown you in the video, and this is running at this IP address, and I can access that as well. So let's start the third instance of Node-RED. I can do that here. The IP address is 227.1.8.0. So this is the third instance of Node-RED running on my edge device. Okay, it also has some flows inside, and it is basically reading some data from my Schneider PLC. So if I show you the dashboard of that, here you can see it is reading some data from my PLC, which is reading the set point, actual temperature, the tank level status, the fill valve, drain valve, and here you can see some charts for the actual temperature and the set point. So when I increase the drain value, the tank will start decreasing because the drain valve is increasing. Okay, fill valve is at the moment 3.5%, and drain valve is 88%. So water is going to drain. Okay, now if I stop the draining and increase the filling, then water is going to increase. This is a small example. This program is inside the PLC. I'm just reading the PLC values via Modbus in this case. This is the third instance of Node-RED, which you can see here. All right, coming back. Now I told you that you can also install Node-RED on Dockers. Okay, so Docker is a platform which is OS independent most of the time, and you can quickly pull the image of Node-RED from the server and run it. So most of the time when you are developing some application as a developer, Dockers are the best way to develop the applications, because then you can just send your Docker file. They don't have to worry about if it's Windows or Linux or Mac OS. It's OS independent. You can just send the Docker file and they can check the application. So I'm going to show you how you can run now on Dockers. So for Dockers to run, you need to install Docker Desktop, which is one of the application. I already have that. So this is called Docker Desktop. You need to sign up for an account and install Docker on your computer. They offer, I think, Windows and Linux both versions. And once the Docker is running, you can just pull an image. So let me see, my Docker must be here. There you see. This is my Docker, and Docker has a hub. Hub means it has a lot of image files on this server where you can pull the image. So if you go to the, let me see if I can open it for you first here. Let me put Docker Hub. Just Google Docker Hub and you can see, okay, it's Docker Hub Node-RED. But anyways, Docker Hub, you'll find a lot of applications. Node-RED is one of the applications you can also find in the Dockers. So here you can see that it's Node-RED, and if I explore, I can find a lot of applications. Python, JavaScript, MySQL, Postgres, Mongo, Influx, Telegraph, all the applications are here. Most of the applications you can find in the Docker, okay? Because nowadays developers are using Docker a lot. So to run my Node-RED on Docker, what I need to do is just go to your Docker desktop. You can also do it in the command prompt. And here I have already I'm having some images. I can just stop it for you. So here you can see I have already an image of Node-RED. But if I want, I can delete this image. Let me just first also stop my container or delete the container. So in Docker, there are two keywords very important: image and container. Okay, image is something that you download from the hub, and container is which contains that image. Okay, so what I'm going to do is now going to search, type Node-RED, and you will see this is a Node-RED image. I will just pull it. Pull means I will install it or download it from my Docker hub. It will take some time based on the size of the image, and you can notice that it's already pulled 100 million times, more than 100 million. So how many people are using it? Okay, so once this image is pulled, then it will have, you can see this image in your Dockers, and then from there you can run super easily. Okay, so another best thing about Dockers is you can have multiple instances in your computer. You can run Node-RED 5 different times in a 5 different port address. Okay, so if you want to have 2 applications communicating to each other in one computer, you can do that using Dockers very easily. Now you can see that my image is here. Now I just need to run it. So when I click on run, I have to do some optional settings. So I have to give the port to the host. So I will give 1880. This is because the Docker has its own port inside. I will just expose that to my Windows port. But now, because 1880 is already occupied by my Windows Node-RED, I can put here 1881, because otherwise it will conflict. And then I click on run. And once you do that, Docker will start running Node-RED into your computer at 1881. So now you can see that I have now another instance running at 1881. So this is the 4th instance of Node-RED. So you can see that you have multiple ways to start Node-RED. You can do it on your Windows, you can do it in your Linux, you can do it on your Raspberry Pi, HTPP, or Dockers as well. Dockers can also be installed on your edge device, and then you can run Node-RED. Okay. So if you have any questions so far, then let me know. Otherwise, I can proceed. So this was just installation of Node-RED. Okay. I'm going to use this Docker version of Node-RED for the next exercise. Now we are going to do some exercise. Any questions, feel free to type a message. Or you can also unmute your mic and speak. Do we must need Docker? Tamanna is asking. You don't need Dockers. You just need Dockers if you have a client who's asking you to develop some applications, and you want to develop the application and send it to your client. If you do that without Docker, then you have to send your code, you have to send your dependencies, you have to tell which operating system you're using, and a lot of stuff you have to pack together and send. And then the client has to see if he has the same operating systems or not, or same dependencies or not. So Dockers is a much more advanced way to build and pack your application and send it to the client or send it to someone to approval. If you're just learning in your house, in your school, in your university, then you can just use Windows way of Node-RED installation. Then you can just do this one, npm install in your Windows computer or Linux, if this was your question. Can you show the message command line we need type to install in Windows? This is what you can use to type in the Windows. npm install. Don't forget to put the space. This is the space, okay? And if you want to know this command, if you want to copy paste that, you can go to nodered.org, and there you can find this command. Yeah, thank you for putting it into the chat. So just install the Node-RED, and once you install, you should be able to see this window. Okay, I'm going to work on the Docker. You can work on your computer as well. There's no problem. And I will just close the Raspberry Pi, and this was my Schneider PLC example. So this is how actually you use Node-RED when you're extracting the data from the machine. You have to do some flows like this, okay? So let me just close these two, and this one I can also close. All right, any other questions so far? All right, so the next step is next was the videos that I showed you, that how Node-RED has been used to extract data from this PLC. This is just one of the PLC that I have, 1500. And this is another example how Node-RED has been used in this edge device to extract data from this PLC. Another small application example. Now we will do some exercises. The first basic exercise, which you see in every programming tool, to print hello world on the console and the debug. So let's print a hello world. In this case, you can first check these default nodes. You must be having inject. Inject is used to inject some messages, right? And then you can have a debug. Okay, so if I connect these together, without doing anything, just connecting these two nodes. And on the right side, you can see this small insect which says debug. Okay, debug messages. Click on that. Then you have a debug window, right? And then this button means you need to deploy. Deploy means whatever you do here, you need to deploy it, okay? Which means, I don't know, download it, execute it. So let's say deploy it. Once I deploy, I get a message here, successfully deployed. And now I can press a button here, and you will see there is a number coming here. Okay, this is actually the timestamp in epoch state. So if I click on that, you will see the current time. Okay, so every time I press it, it will tell you the time when this was injected. This is a very simple way to know the time. But what we want to do, we want to show hello world. So just double click on that. Now you can see that payload. So there are two things here, payload and topic. Very important. You have to know these two things. These are very important. Payload is actually the message which your node is giving out. Topic is basically the subject. For example, when you write an email, you write a subject and you write an email. Subject is your topic, payload is your email. Okay, that's how you can distinguish. So the payload here, you can see it has a millisecond since epoch. I will change that, and I can change from here. String. So once you do a string, you can type a message, hello world. Okay, you can also put exclamation mark. Topic, if you want, you can also write here greetings. Okay, or anything if you want to write. If you don't write, that's totally fine. Click on done, and then from here I will select modified nodes, because it will only deploy the modified nodes, not all the nodes. Okay, make sure you do that. Even if you don't do it, it's okay, but it's recommended. Then you deploy again. Now when I inject, I get a message hello world, and I have this topic here, greetings. And that's my payload. So that's how you inject a message. If you want, you can also put anything that you like. You can put code and compile as my message, deploy, and then I click here. Now I have code and compile. This is one way to print some text. Okay, you can print anything that you like. Here you can see that you have string, you have number, you have boolean, JSON, buffer, timestamp, so many things here. But we will stick to the basics. We printed a message. Another way to print a message is you can use a function node. So when I bring a function node inside, I can go inside and you can see that it already has a return message as a return. So I can write here message.payload, because we are working with a payload. This you have to put in the quotes, hello world. And if you want to write a message topic, you can also do that. Greetings. Don't forget this semicolon here. This is very important. This is how you type coding. You code in JavaScript. Okay, don't forget that. Click on done, and now I can bring it in between these two. This will do the same thing. When I now inject, it will give me a message hello world and greetings. So basically now this message is coming from this function. So if I change here, hello code and compile, the same message will come out. Now here, you don't have to worry what is here. You can also have it here timestamp, or maybe you can delete the topic, doesn't matter, because everything is defined in this function. Now again, if I do that, you will see the same message. This is another way to print hello world. So there is one in the chat, Yahaya is asking, hope you will send the video clip after workshop or the PPT. So I think Omar is already recording. This workshop is recorded. You can have this recording. Otherwise, you can also find this recording in my YouTube. If Omar is going to share with me, I can upload that in YouTube and you can have an access. So this was the first exercise, right? Just printing hello world. All right, next one is make an HTTP request and display the response. Cat Facts API. So now this is just the exercise to show you how you can get the information from the internet. All right, so there are some APIs. APIs is, I think, application programming interface, something like that. And it will give you some free information. And then you can pull this information and show it in your Node-RED. So there are 3 links I've mentioned here. Maybe I can also copy that into the chat. Let me just do that. I have it mentioned some here. Tamanna is asking, can you show the function what I've written there? Yeah, sure, I can show you the function. Here, if you open the function, you have 2 main thing. Message.payload, maybe you can take a screenshot or make a photo, and message.topic. These two are very important. In the end, don't forget to return it. If you don't return it, it will not come out of the function node. All right, so I hope you have made a screenshot or something. Now what we have to do here, you can see there is an icon to delete the message or clear the message. Second exercise is to extract the information from the internet, right? In this case, I have mentioned 3 links into the chat. I can also bring that here. So I can take a comment node and I paste it here. Oh, this is correct. So I have these three links. So I will just copy one of that. Cat facts. I can rename that APIs. And now I will search for HTTP node. Okay, I will take HTTP request because I'm requesting from the web HTTP. Okay, open that and just paste the first URL, catfactninja/fact. And here you can return the message in string. Let's keep it like it is default. Okay, string is just a data type. And now I take another inject node, another debug node, and I'm going to take some information. So let's see what fact we get from the cats. So once I inject, you need to have internet on your computer, right? I'm sure you have it because you're watching a live stream. So here you can see that there's a fact. It says the ancestor of all domestic cats is the African wild cat, which still exists today. So it is a fact which came out. But you can see that it's coming out in a string format, right? You can also convert that string format into a JSON format, which I was talking to you before. So now if I open this, I can do a parse JSON object, because when you do JSON object, then you can extract the data from that. Okay, so let's deploy it again. Now I inject, and now you can see that there's a better view from here. Not every cat gets high from catnip. Whether or not a cat responds to it depends upon the recessive gene, no gene, whatever fact it is. So every time that you inject something, it will tell you a random fact. Cat families usually play best in even numbers, whatever it is. Okay, this is how you can get the information from the web. Another API that you can try is get your public IP address. Let's try this one. So I'm going to take another HTTP request node and put the second link here, and here keep it as default string. And I can take, you can also just connect this one directly here. You don't need to take every time individual nodes. And I copy paste the debug node and I deploy. Every time you make changes, you have to deploy before you execute it. Now, because of this debug window, if I inject, it will show both of the messages. One is a cat fact, one is my IP address. That's my public IP address. You will see your own public IP address. This is going to get information for you. But if you hide this one, then every time you inject it, it will only show debug from this node. So only one time. Okay. This is the second free API. Let's try the third one. This is a very interesting one. Universities. You can get the list of universities. So I will just paste this link here. And in the end, you can put the name of the country. So right now I put Germany. Let's see if I put Malaysia, if I can get list of universities in Malaysia. Let's see that. And let's see if yours is there or not. So I delete this, deploy again, and now you will see it will take some time. There you go. It has a lot of universities, but you see this information is not easily readable. So what I can do is I can open that and I say, okay, give me a JSON object, which is easy to read. There you go. Now you can see that list of universities up to 143. The first one is, if I just do it like this, Alliance College of Medical Science in Malaysia. Second one is Asia E-University, and so on. So you can see there is some Institute of Teacher Education, Tavau, or Institute of Teacher Education. So a lot of universities are coming up, and this data is coming from the internet. So you're just extracting the data. So I'm just showing you the possibility of using Node-RED. All right. So going back to our Canva presentation, this was the second exercise, make an HTTP request. Third one is controlling an LED using dashboard. So we have to use now dashboard, and we have to control an LED. So very simple example. Okay, so let's do that. In this case, because if you see here on the left side, you will not find any dashboard nodes. Okay, you will just find storage, parser, sequence, network, function, or common. So let's install dashboard nodes. You can also install some nodes in your Node-RED. In this case, go to these three burger menu, manage palette, and go to install on the top. Don't forget that. And just type FlowFuse here, because this dashboard I'm going to install is from FlowFuse. Now you can see that FlowFuse / Node-RED dashboard. Now this is what you can now install. Just click on install once again, and then just wait. It will start pulling the Node-RED nodes and showing you here. In the meanwhile, if you have any questions, feel free to write me. Feels like they're just Tamanna and Yahaya who's trying to do something. What about other guys? I see you are 52 of them here. What are you doing? Well, you should also start practicing. All right, so now you can see that. You have all the nodes, messages here, and on the left side, you will see all the dashboard nodes here, okay? So you just have to install FlowFuse / Node-RED dashboard. Now, the task was to control an LED. But here, I think by default, you will not see an LED. In this case, we go back here again and just type again FlowFuse, because they have LED node, which is extra. Here you can see that FlowFuse Node-RED dashboard 2 UI LED. Okay, this is what you need to install. This will give me a possibility to use LED. Okay, let's install that and wait for the installation. All right, done. Now we will see LED on the bottom. Okay, there you can see an LED. Now I need to control that. I can control that using my timestamp. I can control that using a button. So let's do it using a timestamp. I will just take another one here, and I will connect that here. Now, if you know, LED is basically a Boolean object or a Boolean component where you send either true or false. So if you send true, the LED color will be green. If you send false, it will be red. This is by default. So I click on done. And here in the timestamp, now I can select from here. I want to send a Boolean, which is by default true. I say OK. Now I have a true here. I copy paste that, open it, and make it false. Okay, super easy. You don't have to type a code. It's just flow-based programming. Now I can do deploy. And now where do you see the LED? If I do true, false, you see nothing here. This LED is now already running on the dashboard. So to access the dashboard, you have to go to this button here, and you will see dashboard 2.0. And there you can see there is an LED. So what you can do is click on this button, open dashboard on the top right. If you click on this button, it will open up my dashboard. And there you can see the LED. So let's do one thing. I will split this window. I will bring this window out. Let's put it on this side, and I put this on this side. And I can close this one. And now if you see, I can just bring the LED a bit closer. Right now it's false, it's red. If I send true, it will be green. And then it's false. This is simplest way to control an indication, sending true and false. Now you must be thinking, why we have to use inject node? Why can't we have a button here? For sure you might be thinking that. Let's do a button. So here you can see there is a possibility to have a button, but I think in this case we can use a switch, which is much more, it makes more sense. Open the switch. Whenever you take a node, you will see there is a triangle here. This means it needs to be set up, needs to be configured. Open that one. It is asking for which group I belong to. Select the group, page 1, group 1. That's fine. Now he's happy. And then you can put a label. You can put on, off, or anything that you want to put. You can do that. And click on done. And just connect this here. Now the switch is also by default a Boolean component. So it will only send true and false. You can see that here, true and false by default. Okay. Now you can see that switch is here. I can turn it on. It's green. I can turn it off. It's red. So this is how you can control an LED. You can for sure use different ways to control that, but this is the simplest way. Okay. There's someone asking, why does the installation fail? I have no idea, because when installation fails, you will see some message there on your window. Try to understand that message, and or just tell me what is the message. Put it in the chat. I will see if I can help. But what do you mean by installation? Is it the installation of Node-RED or installation of dashboard or which nodes? So please clarify that, and maybe I can help you. So this was like how you can control the LED on the dashboard. And if you remember, I was showing you, let me just open that again. I will not look on those. A lot of LEDs in the example for Raspberry Pi and my edge computer. I can show, maybe I can show you here. So this is my edge computer, which has a Node-RED running inside. And here you can also see some LEDs. Heating status, start, stop heating. Now if I start the heating, this will turn on. This is exactly what I did here. Okay, same thing is happening here. And then I can use a slider to do some set points. Now this I can also show you now, how you can use a slider and how you can use these gauges. So if you come back here, now here you can see a slider. Okay, just open the slider and we fix its position. You can also go to the group one, so it will come here. And title, it's a slider. Let's call it as a speed. So we are setting up a speed. Step minimum, range is minimum. Step 1, maximum 10. Let's make maximum 100. So we have now slider from 0 to 100. Click on done and deploy. And now you can see that you have a slider from 0 to 100, right? And now I want to give the slider to a gauge. So you can put here a gauge. This is the gauge. And if you open that, it will ask you the position, bring it to the same group. And you have different types of gauges: half needle, tile, battery level, tank level. So I can take, let's take half gauge, style needle, and the range I have to put now 0 to 100. So this will be 40, 0, 40, 100, 0 to 100 here. So I'm just mapping the same range because the slider is 0 to 100. Click on done, connect these together, deploy, and now you can see that you can move the slider. And the gauge will follow that. Okay. If you want, you can copy paste the gauge. And instead of half gauge, you can take a battery level. The rest I will keep it as it is. And I take another one just to show you the possibilities. Tank level. So now you have a gauge, battery level, and tank level. Once you deploy, you can see that here, how this is being shown. So this is my tank, 21%. This is my battery, and this is my gauge, all controlled using the same slider. Okay, so this is the simplest way to play around with the Node-RED using the dashboard. And if you want to learn more about the dashboard, I have a full course on it. I will show you in the end, where you can learn about each element of the dashboard. You can learn about how the charts are made, how the gauges are being controlled, how you can fetch the data from PLC and create the dashboards. All right, so let me close this one. I can close this one. So this was our second exercise, or third exercise, controlling an LED using dashboard 2.0. Now comes the fourth exercise. Send the data to MQTT broker using publish and retrieve the data using subscribe. This is the interesting part, because here you're sending the data to the cloud. Okay. Now MQTT, what is MQTT? It's basically a communication protocol, all right, which helps you to send the information from one location to another via MQTT broker. So you can imagine if maybe I take a pen here. So I have here a process, right? This is one process. Let's say it's a liquid level, right? I just fill it like it is, just to show you. And I am located in Germany, so I will just put here DE. Okay. And you guys are in Malaysia, right? And you want to show the same level on your computer, exactly same. So if the level changes in Germany, it should change in Malaysia. Okay, this is a simple application. We are going to try that now. You will see the values in your computer. How to do that? The only way is you need to use internet. Internet is a way to share information. So you send the data to the cloud. I will just make here cloud. And then you retrieve the data. So I'm going to send the data. You're going to retrieve the data. So I'm sending it to the cloud. You're reading from the cloud. Okay. And in the cloud, we use a communication protocol, which I can call this. My pen is very strange. MQTT. Sorry for this thick pen. MQTT is a communication protocol which will help you to send the message and retrieve the message. So we're going to do that now. So if you're with me, if you have Node-RED running, let's do that. So in this case, I go back to my screen. And here, let's say I want to send the value of my gauge, of my slider, to you. Okay, so I will just remove extra gauges. So when I change the value here, you will see the same value in your screen. So let's do that. So in this case, if you remember, I told you it has a built-in MQTT support. You will find MQTT in and MQTT out. Okay, I'm going to take MQTT out because I'm sending the data out. Okay, then I will open that. You don't have to do this. You have to use in. I will show you shortly. And then I will define a server. Inside the server, let's see, add a new broker. Why it's not showing me? Looks like some bug. Wait a second. Okay, maybe I have to click on plus. Anyways, so now here in the server, there are some companies who are offering you free MQTT cloud services. So you don't have to pay to them. Usually you have to buy a subscription, you have to pay to them, and then they allow you to send information. But some of the companies have open MQTT ports, so you can use them right away. It's not a safe way, but for learning, it's okay. So you can type here broker. Let me see, what was that? HiveMQ. broker.hivemq.com. This is what I'm going to type here. And port I will keep as it is, 1883. Let's see if this works. And now I'm going to define a topic. This is very important. Okay, topic, I'm going to type code and compile. Okay, this is the topic you need to use. I will show you when. So I will send this to the cloud. Yeah, let's deploy. Now it is connecting. Okay, one thing I have to make sure. Now this Docker that I'm using may not have the internet access. Okay, let me just try this exercise into my Node-RED running on the Windows. Okay, it doesn't make much difference. So what I can do is I can maybe check here. Yeah, I can make this here again. What I can do is something that you can also learn. You can select your nodes that you want to copy, and you can go here. And I say export, selected nodes, copy to clipboard. And I can go to another Node-RED and go to import, paste the nodes, and import. So I have my nodes here. So I don't have to worry about downloading the code, uploading it. I can just do it by clipboard. So I will just download it here. And now I need to open my dashboard, 1880. There you go. Now it's still saying connecting. Let me see if I put quality of service 2. Normally it should work. Anyways, let's continue, and I will see if it's working later on, then I can come back to this point. So the point was to send the data to the cloud and retrieve it. And I was trying to use the free broker service, but somehow it's not working. I'm not sure why, but if it's working for you, let me know. If you're doing the same thing, if you can get the connected status, then it's working for you. All right. So now if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I see someone is saying how to create a dashboard. I mean, what I've shown you here is just a small example of creating a dashboard, right? You can also just be creative. And first you need to define what are the elements you want to see on your dashboard. And then you can see these elements in your dashboard. You have charts, you have gauge, you have notification, drop-down buttons. So you have different elements here on the left side. But first you need to know for what purpose you want to create a dashboard. Do you want to show just digital on-off signals or analog signals or some messages, some notifications? Once you know that, then grab these elements and bring it on your dashboard and play around to see which one fits where. This is just play and learning. But if you want to really learn how to create dashboards, there are many books on the internet that you can buy, and then you can learn how to create a dashboard professionally. Okay, so let's go to the next step. Someone is saying, I haven't seen chart in my Node-RED page. So charts you have to take from here. This is the chart node. And once you open that, you need to give the page and group, but you also need to give some input to it. Then it can show some information here. So let's see, this is my 1881. And then you can see the chart. And you can see how the values are being created by moving the slider. So this is how you can read your chart, right? Any other questions? Okay, it doesn't help if you send me your local IP address, because this IP address which you just sent me in the chat, Malik, it's only accessible to you. Okay, this is your dashboard. It's not running on the web. It's your dashboard, so I can't see that. But this is when you put UI next to it. Remember, UI is for dashboard 1. So the link that you shared me, 1880/UI, this is for dashboard 1. We are working on dashboard 2 from FlowFuse. And here you can see that you have not UI, but you have dashboard. So that's how you can see your dashboard here for dashboard 2. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next topic. Let me switch to my change my pen. Okay. Now the next is we will see a live demo of a sorting system using Node-RED. Okay, what is happening here? So remember I told you about I'm working with Simomatic, which has a digital twin platform. So we have created a sample sorting system there, which is called Virtual Lab in our system. And this system has some work pieces coming, and there's some assembly going on. Okay, so this system I can show you. I already have it here. If I open Simomatic, so this is a Simomatic platform. So I'm working as a community manager and a content creator in Simomatic. And you can see Code and Compile is an organization in Simomatic. And you can go inside the workspace. Don't worry about these steps. You don't have to follow that. This is what you can learn more about from my other courses, how to use Simomatic. So here I'm going to load a digital twin system, which I have already created for this demo. Let's call it Virtual Lab. And let's load it. And this is just to practice, right? If you don't have a real machine, you can work on digital machines. So if you see, it's a 3D model of something is happening here, okay? And this model has PLC inside. So if I start emulation, in this case, if I go towards this side, you can already see there is some light here. So if I open this panel, you can see inside this panel, there is a PLC. It has a generic PLC. It has a digital input card and digital output card. And there are some statuses here, which sensor is on, which sensor is off. Okay, it's just for learning purposes. And we have some emergency switch. We have push buttons that you can interact with. These are the push buttons to show some objects. So what is happening here? So when I press the start, the process starts. It means the conveyor starts running. And I just inject a workpiece. And you can see that workpiece starts coming from here. This is where the workpiece emerge. And then it slides down, and then it passes through some sensors. So nothing is happening. It's just taking its route from top to bottom. Okay. And here you can see that it's a rejector. It will say it is rejecting it because it's not the complete workpiece. We did not assemble that. Now if I press the white button here, then you will notice a ring is coming. And the ring will be stored here, because there are some sensors who knows that this is a ring, not the base. So this is the top part which comes here. So I can have some more rings. I press this white button to get some rings out of it. And then one more. And one more. So let's have 4 rings. Okay. Now I will bring the base. So now you will see what happens. Now the base will come, and it will take one of the ring from here. So this is like one of the process that we developed for one of our customer, and then it goes on top, and the testing will be done here, and this is a right object. This is how it should be. So it will not be rejected, and it will go until the end, and it will vanish there. So this is like the assembled part. So now I can bring more parts, because I know I can assemble that. So this will again take another ring, and then I have another one. It will take another ring, and so on. So this is like a factory process. And now I want to extract the information. I want to create a dashboard using Node-RED. How I can do that? But first, to let you know, this is not an animation. These rejection of cylinders, starting of conveyors, and turning off of conveyors sensor signals are being monitored in my TIA portal. So I program my PLC code in TIA portal. This is one of the software to program Siemens PLCs. And here, if I go online, I can show you here good parts, bad parts, and system status. So good parts are 6, bad parts were 2, system status is true. Now this I can show you that this is reading the value from my system. So if I press this stop button, you will see that system status will go to false. So system status is just showing me if the machine is running or not. Good parts are the assembled parts, which were all together. Bad part was just the lowest part. Okay, these numbers now I can read on my Node-RED. Okay, so let's run the system again. And now this is running on one side, and this is actually running on my real PLC. Okay, so my real PLC, if you see in my device configuration, I can show you this is the PLC I'm using. And this you have also seen in one of my screenshots, which I showed you some videos. And here, if I show you, I need to know the IP address of my PLC. And then I can read the data from Node-RED. So the IP address of my PLC is this one I'm using. Let's see if I can see that here. This one, 192.168.0.154. That's the IP address my PLC has. Okay. Now let's see if we can read that. So I will go to my Node-RED, and I will use this nodes. Now to read from the PLC, you can't follow this exercise because you don't have a PLC. I need to install some nodes, which I have already installed. So just to show you, I have S7COM. This is the S7 communication node. This is used to communicate with S7 PLC. So the PLC that I'm using is S7 1500. So I need these nodes to communicate to this PLC. This is one way to do that. Another way is you can use OPC-UA, but I'm going to use S7COM. So now I will go up, or just search here S7COM. You will find input and output. So I have to read the information. So I will use an input node. Now this input node again has something to configure. I open that, and I will tell the PLC IP address, which I've already given here. Otherwise, I can show you here. This is my PLC IP address. This is my port number. So every PLC has a port number. From there, it starts communicating. So 102 is a port number. Rack 01 is the slot here. Because if you notice that, this is the rail 0, this is the rack 0, and that's a slot, first slot. So you have to mention that. And then I have mentioned my addressing. So this is my data block 3. What is this data block 3? Let's go back and check. So here if you go, I have this database 3. You can see that read here as well. Data DB3. This is the data block 3. This is the name of data block from where I have to read the information. So DB3. That's why data block is from here, number 3. So what I'm reading integer value, which is standing at 0.0. This is the offset. So here I have mentioned integer. Offset is 0. Quantity means how many quantity you want to read. I say 1. And I give the name. It's the good parts. I stand for integer. Second is again data block 3. Integer. Offset is 2. 2 because the second one starts from 2. Again, it's an integer. And the third one starts from 4, but it's a Boolean. So the next one, if you see here, it's again DB3 starting at 4, and it's a Boolean, so .0. Automatically you will see this dot here. You just put the name here, click on update, and now I want to read good parts. I click on done. Now it's going to tell me the good parts. So to get the good parts, I need to inject a message to tell him, okay, bring me the data. And then let's see if we can get the data. So let's have a debug node here, and I click on deploy. And here maybe I can split this window as well. Let's bring this guy here. And here I can show you my TIA portal, which is, where is the TIA portal? Here. Let's minimize that, minimize that. So I have a lot of windows open. That's why my system is super slow. So here you can see my good parts are 6. Let me just hide this one, hide this one. So I'm reading now PLC information here. Let's bring it on the top. And we have a debug. So I can show you in here. Debug window, deploy. So when I inject now, you will see that I get a message. If I open the message, there is a value here, and you can see the value is 6. So I get the good parts now on my Node-RED directly from PLC using S7 communication. Now if I need to read the bad part, I can copy paste this one, open this, change from good parts to bad parts, click on done, deploy. Sorry, I was too fast. First connect the nodes, and then I can maybe take another debug. And deploy, clear the messages. And now you can see 2 messages. This is my good parts, which is 6, bad parts, which is 2, like it is here. I can also read the status. Okay, I copy paste that. I take the status quickly here, and now connect this to another debug. Deploy. So you can see that how fast it is to extract the data. So now the status, you can see it's true. Now I don't want to read debug all the time. I want to create a dashboard to get the data out of it. So what I can do is I can take some dashboard nodes now. So if you go to your dashboards, you can find, let's see, we take an LED for sure for this Boolean signal. I take an LED. I can put it in the page 1, group 1. So the signal, my system status will show if it's on and off using an LED. But usually you never use red LED for false, because red is always a color for error. So I can change the color here. I can change the gray color. So you can also customize that. And good parts and bad parts I can show just using a text, or if you want to see some gauges, I can also do that. Let me just take some gauge. I can do this one. This is for bad parts. This is my half gauge. It's totally fine. I can give it a name. Bad parts. Let's take maximum 100. Usually gauge is not the perfect way to show it, but just because we have already used it, you know about this gauge before. So the range have to be 100. And I can show good part here. And connect this here and deploy. Now you can see 6, 2, and true. And now if I go to my dashboard, I can open the dashboard. True. There we go. Let's bring it out. This is my dashboard, and let's inject. Oh, you can see a lot of crap on my dashboard. Why? Because the data that we are reading is into a JSON format. This was intentionally to show you like this. Give me a second. I think I have an emergency call coming. I get back to you. If you have any questions, just write me in the chat. I'll just get back to you in a second. Hello? What happened? What happened? I'm in the webinar. Yeah, until 5. Okay, see you later. All right, so the task was to clean up this crap on the dashboard. So if you see here, we have the data, which is coming in the array. We just need to take this value out, not the whole status, not the whole object. Okay. The shortcut to do that is you bring this function node again. Function node is the very useful node in Node-RED. Let's take this function node out. And notice that, let me just maximize it. This good part, I just bring this function node inside. Here is my good part. Okay, I can copy this, copy the path. You will see this button here, copy path. Click on that. And then open function node and type here again, message.payload is equivalent to message dot, and then paste your path. This is your path. And if you notice that, it's actually message.payload, this is your payload, dot value, this is the key dot value, and the first element of the array, 0. This will give me good parts. And for the bad parts, I will do the same. Copy paste. And bad part is also here. So this is again first object, this is fine. And then the last one is the same as well, Boolean value, also in the first element of the array. That's it, deploy, and we should be having the correct value. Now let me just inject again. And where is the dashboard? There you can see that now, 6 and 2. So let's clean up the dashboard because this is actually showing other values as well. So I can maybe disable that one. Disable my gauge or my slider. And now let's see, there's a lot of things happening here. Now you can see that my machine status is true. Good parts are 6, bad parts are 2. Now let's run the machine again. So I go back to Simomatic. And then you can see real-time information coming. One more thing before I show you real-time. Here you have noticed that I'm pressing inject all the time, right? I have to press inject to get the information. What I can do is, let me close other Node-REDs. I can open this timestamp and I say repeat it at the interval of 1 second. So every 1 second, it will keep on pushing. Click on done and deploy. So now it is pulling every 1 second the data from the PLC. So this will be updated every 1 second. Now let's go back here. And now let's see if I stop the machine. You can see that it's gray. If you want to see much more nicely, I can open the LED and I can type machine status. And then I have a message here. This is much nicer. Then I can again start the machine. It will be green. Now let's have some objects coming in. Now this is going to again take this ring, so it will be a good part. And once it passes this is the sensing area where it sends. I think something wrong happened. So I think this will not be counted because it's not a good part. So let's try one more time. I bring just the base. So this is now a bad part. So when it crosses this area, this should increment. I can also write here instead of gauge bad part and good part. So maybe this comes at the rejection. I'm not sure. Yeah, at the rejection, you can see now it's 3. So what you can also do is you can go to good part and put a title here. Here is the label is here. Good part. And here I can type label bad parts. I can hide my debug so that it's not coming all the time here. And now you can see that you have a good messages here, machine status here. And if you want to move this machine status on the top and bottom, just you can also do that. So now let's bring in some good parts and see if this is incrementing as well or not. If you have any questions, let me know. Wonderful. Thank you so much from Mahmoud. Thank you very much as well. Simomatic is powerful. Yes, it is really powerful. And if you want to know more about Simomatic, I have a free course on Simomatic, which I will show you in the end, which you can enroll, and then you can learn about Simomatic as well. So now you can see that it's a good part, and part increases to 8. Let's bring 2 more. So there's another big message coming from Malik. Just some questions. Is Node-RED based on a local host? Or can I share data between 2 devices from anywhere as long as we both are connected to the internet? Like I was telling you, you can share the data via MQTT because my MQTT was not working good. I don't know some reason I was unable to connect to MQTT, but I will try that one more time to see if it's working. So you can share the data. So for sure, MQTT is one way to share the data. There are possible other ways like API as well. You can create your API and send the data as well. And you can also host the Node-RED on the server. Right now, it's localhost. Right now, what I'm doing here is it's localhost. Okay? You can also host on the server, which you can do by using Flowfuse. So if I show you one example, I will log into my Flowfuse account. This Flowfuse account, you can use it for free, but there's a paid version as well. So in the paid version, you can have Node-RED running on the cloud. Okay? So I'm going to show you now. This is my Flowfuse account. There I have hosted instance. And if I open this now editor here, you will notice now the Node-RED is running on the cloud. Here you can see that it's aitools.flowfuse.cloud. Okay, now it's not running locally. It's running on the cloud. And I have another instance, code and compile. So I have 2 instances running on the cloud. Now this is code and compile.flowfuse.cloud. By having it on the cloud means you are not stick to one system. You can work on your program anywhere else just by logging to the cloud. Okay, and then not only that, you can deploy your cloud program to multiple local instances as well. This is how Flowfuse has been used, and you can see more videos about Flowfuse on my YouTube channel. I have explained in detail about that. Okay, so for your questions, if Node-RED is just local, it can also be on the cloud. Second was, if yes, how fast it is? Can I send high-speed integer data stream like 50 hertz per second? And what do I need to do? Well, we do not use Node-RED for sending high-stream data, first of all. High-stream data you should not send via network because it doesn't make sense. We usually use polling rate of 0.1 second, 0.5 second, or 1 second. It's just for monitoring the data, which is used for a higher level of automation, like ERP or some data monitoring. If you have high-speed applications, it's usually should be done locally, because if you miss high-speed data, it's a big loss. So we don't send the data which is risky for you, if this answers your question, Malik. So, all right, so we have been doing this dashboard, and this is working good with our workspace. And what I wanted to show you was if I can send it to you, but unfortunately my broker is not working. And let me see if I can use another broker, but in this case, you need a username. So let me just reset my Node-RED and see if I can connect again so that you can also read my machine data. So I will just open my Node-RED, stop it, start again, and then we'll see if it works. Malik, I see, because I've seen someone who was using AWS for such application. Yeah, you can also host Node-RED on the AWS, and you can also work there as well. You can send data. You can send big data. That's not a problem. But sending high-speed data doesn't make more sense. OK. Now we are connected again, but still, I think this MQTT is not working. Let me see if I'm having correct details. Just to verify if I have correct broker details. I'm not sure if I can farm this detail. Let's log in and check. In Hive MQ, you can use a free account to send the data via cloud. So I'm checking if I have my broker details correctly set up or not. So I have to log in. Here you can send the data securely. So if you have data that you don't want others to see, you can send securely using Hive MQ. This is my secure URL. This is up and running. I have to see if I can find port. No, this is not mentioned here. This is just secure. Let me try the other one. There's another broker, which is called test.mosquito.org. This we can also use. Oh, now it says connected. All right, so this is connected now. OK, so coming back to what I wanted to show you. So we have this broker.hivemq.com 1883, and my topic was code and compile. So I'm using MQTT out node. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this. So I will, instead of code and compile, I will type good parts. And I send another one, which is called bad parts. And another one, I call it status. So if you want to read now my information from my machine, from Simulmatter, you can do that in your computer if you have Node-RED is running. What you have to do to read it, OK? Now listen carefully. I was sending the data out. You have to take the data in. So take MQTT in, open that, and give this server address. So if click on the pencil icon and give this address, broker.hivemq.com, and put this port number 1883. That's it. Don't do anything else, just these two things. Protocol is MQTT v3.1.1. Click on Update and put here topic, good parts. Very simple name. And then copy-paste that. And then you will see here you can write bad parts and copy-paste that. Type here status. OK. And now take a debug window And once I'm sending the data, you should be able to receive it. If I deploy, you can see my data should be coming. There you can see bad parts, good parts, and true is also there. So the data is coming now via the cloud. So it will take some time, there's some delay because we are using the free broker services. If you use the paid one, you will have a better data transmission rate. You should be able to see these values in your Node-RED. And if you are watching it, if you are seeing this value, let me know in the chat window if it's working for you, because it should work. You should have a connected status. All you need to do is put the server address and the topic. That's it. broker.hivemq.com, port 1883. And then you will be able to see the value. This is how you can send the value. If this answers your question, Malik, to send the data from one place to another, this is how you can do that. Now you should be able to read my data. So there's one question from Maraune. Sorry if I named you incorrectly. I think I just saw that it was connected when you reloaded Node-RED. Okay, great. Thank you. It is connected. That's very good. So sometimes you have to restart Node-RED when things are not working. But anyways, now it's working. So feel free to check this part to read this data. If you want, I can also show you another way that you can see my whole dashboard. Okay, let's try that. So my dashboard is this one. Okay, now I'm going to show you the final part of my workshop. Let's hide this one. Now I want to show you how I can show you this dashboard. Just to make sure that you are reading the correct dashboard, I will just rename the dashboard. I will call it Code and Compile. And group 1, I can call, let's update that. I can rename that to Node-RED Workshop. Update, deploy. So now you can see that this is page 1. Let me refresh that. Code and Compile, Node-RED Workshop. Now I will share you a link where you can see this dashboard. And this you can do that. If you don't want to send a message by MQTT, you can also just share the whole dashboard. In this case, there are different ways to do that. One is a secure way, one is insecure way. So I'm going to show you insecure way so that you don't have to put any credentials. It is done using tunneling. Okay, tunneling is a way where you send your local host application via a tunnel. Tunnel is basically in the internet to a different location or wherever you can access that. So here we have some nodes for that. I have already installed that nodes. This node is called ngrok. So if I just put here ngrok, this is the node, ngrok. You need to install that. So as you can see that it's already in use. I was using this node here. So I can just copy this node, or otherwise you can just see here, ngrok. I can just take this node here. To the ngrok, I have to just tell the auth token, okay? The auth token is the authorization token. Where do I get this token? So you have to go to ngrok website, sign up for an account, okay? It's a free account. Sign up for an account, and then you will find on the left side your auth token. You will see the token here. I will just copy that, copy this token, and I will go inside this pencil icon, and I can paste this here. Paste my token, click on Update, and click on Done. And here you can see that by default it's HTTP. By default it took Node-RED port. You don't have to worry about this. Click on Done. And for the sake of checking the value, you can go to Debug Node and Deploy. And now, once I press this button, you will see there is a link which is generated. Now this is the link I'm going to put in the chat. And let me just test that here, if it's working good. Let's just make it complete. I put dashboard, page 1. Let's see if this works. So now you have a message. Click on the button, visit site. And now you can see that my dashboard is on the web. So I can send you this link in the chat. You can open this, click on visit button if you see a button, and then you can see the message coming here. And now this is coming from the cloud via a tunnel. And once I made some changes in my workshop, in my Simomatic, you should be able to see. So if I bring one more object, let's try. I bring workpiece. And then it will, based on what is happening here, now it will be rejected. So all will be rejected. So basically nothing happened. You can see now bad part is 4, 5. So Maybe you can see this status as well. Now the status is 10 and 5, and I can stop the machine. You should see status is off. So in this link, you can see the dashboard. If you can see the dashboard, let me know if it's working for you. Otherwise, it's also fine. So this was the last part of my webinar to show you how you can extract the data from the system via Node-RED and share it to the cloud. And if you want to access remotely, you can use ngrok, or you can also share to the cloud via MQTT, which I showed you as well, to send specific data. All right, so this was about the workshop. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I can introduce you. If you want to learn more about Node-RED, if this increases your curiosity to learn Node-RED, I have some courses of Node-RED that you can join if you like. It's an online course. You can join online. So I have one course called Node-RED Made Easy. It has 57 videos, 7 hours of tutorial where you will learn Node-RED step by step. The original price is 49 euros. There's a discount price, and if you put the coupon ISS Yemen, you could get the discount, and you can get it for 37 euros. That's the price for you guys using this coupon. And if you want to learn more about JavaScript, what kind of functions that you can work on arrays, you can work on structures, you can work on some loops, for loop, if loop. These are used a lot for data processing. Then I have another course, which is called JavaScript Essentials for Node-RED, which has 65 tutorials, 8 hours of content, also the same price, 49 euros the original, discounted is 37. So this is a bit advanced level. If you want to start from scratch, do this course. If you want to learn more, you can do JavaScript Essentials for Node-RED. And if you think Node-RED is something you can explore and you can do some projects, so I have a combo of these two courses, which you can get for 58 euros. It's a combo, very good options for you, very good price. It's a discounted price. Otherwise, it's 98 euros. If you want to buy that, you can go to Code and Compile website, which I can show you now. Very easy. Just go to codeandcompile.com. And this is actually showing my dashboard. I will just jump to the website. Here you can see the website, and you can go to the courses, or you can just go to the main page. And if you go down, you will see Node-RED course, JavaScript course. And if you want to buy a bundle, I have a bundle on the bottom somewhere. You will find Master Your Node-RED Programming. This is a bundle of 2 courses. It has some price here, but if you put the coupon that I told you, you will get 25% off on this price. So this was, if you want to learn further about this Node-RED. Otherwise, I am done for today. If you have any questions, feel free to write me, or you can ask me in the chat, or you can contact me on LinkedIn as well for future references. So you can also connect me on LinkedIn. And in LinkedIn, I'm posting every day some new content, some new tech things, and something about tech world. I'm also working nowadays on new technologies, which I'm posting now and then on the LinkedIn. So feel free to connect me on LinkedIn, where you can get to know more about my updates. Otherwise, I wish you a good time. I hope you learned something out of this workshop, and have a good time. Have a good luck for your studies. Oh, one question. In your experience, how scalable? So Node-RED is quite scalable. I mean, you can imagine if you have 100 machines, right? You can deploy 100 edge devices, right? And then you can create one app on FlowFuse, and you can deploy to all these 100 devices in one click. So depends. If you have 100, 200, 300, doesn't matter. You can easily scale up. If this answers your question. Thank you, Omar. Thank you, Mahmoud. Thank you, Sharina. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you for your attention. How demanding is industry for Node-RED workers? Good question. Nowadays, if you see every device that is coming into the market, not every, but I would say 90% of the devices, 95%, they are having Node-RED pre-installed. So if you see the device PLC Next from Phoenix Contact, it has Node-RED. That was the first time I worked on Node-RED on a device. Then you have Control Xcore from Bosch Rexroth. It has Node-RED. Siemens IoT 2050, it has Node-RED. Vago PLC, it has Node-RED. And Revolution Pi is an edge device, it has Node-RED. Edge Pi has Node-RED. Raspberry Pis are coming with pre-installed Node-RED. And countless devices. There's Opto 22 has Node-RED. Many of the devices have Node-RED. So if you're working with some controllers in the industry, you might come across using a Node-RED. So this is how people are adopting it. They're using it because it's so easy to use. You don't need a programming language. You can quickly use it, get the data, process the data, send it to the cloud, share it with your colleagues, things like that.